SEOMike helps businesses of all sizes achieve higher search engine rankings to drive more traffic and increase sales. Contact SEOMike today for a free website evaluation and quote. Mention this ad for 15% off your initial setup. SEOMike, marketing websites on the internet since 1997. Visit SEOMike.com. From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email. Hello and welcome to the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League, live tonight from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal. This 2.71 mile road course with 13 corners, home of the Canadian Grand Prix in Formula One and home of the race here this evening in the GT4 machines in the summer season. Race 8 of 9. We are doing the 20-minute heat and then feature format here this evening as drivers are working on qualifying right now. It is Steve Ficacci currently the quickest as he returns to the series, and good to see him back here. Should give these guys a run for their money. Perry Duncan, who is a winner this season, gonna be looks like he's gonna be rolling off in second as the clock is ticking down, so good potentially starting position for him. And with it coming into race 8 of 9 this season, the points are very tight at the top of the charts. Let's go take a look at the point standings coming into this evening. It is going to be Bruce Wiley at the top, but he is not here tonight in Canada. Aaron Dietrich second in the standings, just 15 behind him. Brian Kennedy also within reach. David Curtis, who I do not believe is here either this evening. Mike Ficacci showing in the 5th position. Michael Pavolano in 6th. And you've got Darren Treacle in 7th, last week's winner. Clint Fletcher going to be in 8th in the standings. 9th is Matthew Gazenda. And rounding out the top 10, Scott Kim, who is back tonight as well. Of course, we are doing the invert rules here tonight, as always. So the qualifying order gets reversed amongst the top 12, and then from the heat to the feature it's going to be reversed as well. Let's go through our starting lineup then from Montreal to see where your favorite drivers are starting here tonight. Of course, cheer them on, let them know you're out there and who you're rooting for in tonight's race. Who do you think is going to win? Adam Pohl in the GT4 machine showing as being on the pole for the heat race. We'll see what he is able to do if he does grid up. Darren Treacle looks like he should be rolling off from 2nd spot. Mike Nickham could be starting in the 3rd position. Let's take a look at these guys as we are going through the starting grid. Scott Kim going to be rolling off from the 4th spot in that Porsche machine. Colin Kornick starting from the 5th position. Matthew Gazenda, he'll start from 6th here tonight. Aaron Dietrich going to be rolling off from 7th. Brian Kennedy starts in the 8th position. Perry Duncan rolling off from 9th, and Steve Ficacci fastest in qualifying. Gonna have to come from the back here, rolling off from the 10th position as the field mostly gridded up except for our top 2 in a beautiful environment here in Montreal. This track sits on an island, and the track shape pretty much follows the outer edge of the island. So you can see up there on the top right of your screen the track map with the 13 corners pointed out. Looking forward to a good one here tonight. A couple of hairpin corners and a couple of longer straightaways as well make up this course. And it looks like Adam Pohl did not grid up. Darren Treacle also gridding up too late. He's going to start from the pits. So going to be a disadvantage for our top 2. That puts Mike Nickham and Scott Kim on the front row of this race, and only 8 cars on the track at the moment. As we're headed towards the starting line. They're going to go underneath the Dodge labeled bridge. I don't believe it's labeled Dodge anymore, but when NASCAR used to come here, and they are making their return to this racetrack next year. So looking forward to seeing some stock cars out here on the road course as the field works towards the start finish line, waiting for that green flag to fly. And there it is, off and away from Montreal, race 8 of this 9-race season as the field dives into turn 1. Side by side for second, that is Scott Kim, Colin Kortnick as well. And then you see Matthew Gazenda, Aaron Dietrich fighting it out. Lots of side by side. Mike Nickum trying to get away as they work through the chicane right there. Chicane City, some drivers will call this. Side by side, Brian Kennedy gets off 2 tires into the dirt as he's racing with Steve Ficacci, trying to keep up with Matthew Gazenda in this McLaren machine. And they'll race down this long curving straightaway. Mike Nickum leads Colin Kortnick, who is up from 4th to 2nd spot. See what he is able to do. We've got the onboard cams back up and working on these GT4 cars. As the battle down into the far end of the racetrack. They both make it around nicely there. A little bit slower to get back on the throttle for Colin Kortnick, the Porsche. As they all race it up now, single file. Darren Treacle is on the racetrack. He did actually get onto the speedway, so he finds himself in 9th. He's a ways back though, 6 seconds behind the next closest car, and about 9.5 from your race leader as the battle down into the second to last corner. And back towards the start finish line, Mike Nickum gonna lead lap number 1. We'll see. Steve Ficacci looks like he is under some pressure from Brian Kennedy. Keep an eye on these two. Definitely competitive drivers each and every week. Perry Duncan as well, no slouch. He's got a race win here in the summer season. As everybody doing a nice job staying off of each other. Very conservative to start this thing. And they're only going to get about 11 or 12 laps in this race, so you're going to have to be decisive with when you take an opportunity to make a pass. Got Kim under some pressure here from Aaron Dietrich, who's been so good this season in the GT4 cars, and excited to see what he can do next season as well. The competitive parity within this field, it just continues to get tighter and tighter. As look at this, all of your lead drivers out here along with each other, except for Darren Treacle, who of course joined the field a little bit late. Battle down into the next corner. Scott Kim trying to get a 2-for-1 special, and around goes Aaron Dietrich. Blame that one on the commentator. That is commentator curse right there. Let's see what happened. I think Colin Kortnick was originally went a little bit too deep here. He goes deep. Aaron Dietrich goes deep. He goes to avoid the 32, and around he goes off the nose of Matthew Gazenda. Get another view of this. Yeah, he goes to try and avoid, and man, they just stacked up. Ficacci gets some damage from that one. We will go back live. Aaron Dietrich rejoins the racetrack, but he is a ways behind. Darren Treacle's now moved to 7th. He's gotten around Matthew Gazenda and Aaron Dietrich, and Mike Nickum continues to show the way. The 2 Porsches trail. Colin Kortnick, Scott Kim both try to close in, but that Mercedes a little bit more horsepower down the straights, but a little bit slower through the twisty section of this track. Steve Ficacci also in a Mercedes. That's 3 of the top 5. And Brian Kennedy also in that Mercedes AMG. Perry Duncan, I believe, one of 2 BMWs this evening. We'll see if Adam Pohl ends up joining us. I believe he was in the Aston Martin. We do want to thank you for joining us here on V-Speed 2 as well. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you enjoy the broadcast tonight. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends if they aren't doing anything, and tell them to tune on in. If they're racing fans or want to be part of the action, always opportunities to race it up here in these leagues that we broadcast on V-Speed. Here comes Steve Ficacci now trying to make a move. Driver's right. Going to take that spot away from Scott Kim, who's going to be very courteous there. Give that to him. Here comes Brian Kennedy, also going to pull alongside. He should be able to drag race him down the front stretch. Already a quarter of this race over. Everybody trying to track down Mike Nickum. Colin Kortnick closing in ever so slowly, about a tenth and a half faster. They're on lap number 3. Trying to get the hang of it. Lots of very technical corners. Issues for Brian Kennedy towards the back of the field. He has gone around and he has some damage. Take a look at what happened here. Right in front of Scott Kim. Not sure if they made some contact. Oh, just a little loose over the curb. Ends up losing the back end of the race car. Let's watch it one more time. Goes for a big slide and noses it hard into the Armco barrier. As we go back live, he finds himself now 25 seconds behind. As we've had a change for the race lead while all that was happening, Colin Kortnick gets in front of Mike Nickum, and so does Steve Ficacci. The top 2 have now changed. Top 3 rather. And Ficacci on the move. Your pole sitter started from the back, and here he comes now trying to take a shot at the race lead. Colin Kortnick side by side down into turn number 1, and Ficacci gonna get that one, but here comes Colin Kortnick trying to get it back. Not gonna be able to. It is Ficacci now last to first in this race. In just 5 laps, he's able to take the lead away. We're gonna try and go back to what happened with the race lead. See what happened here. This is the replay. Colin Kortnick, good run down into the hairpin corner. Just able to get on by, and here comes Ficacci. Mike Nickum went to go make a move to get, back around, and Ficacci with the better run, able to get alongside. We go back live here. Steve Ficacci in his return had the pole. Started last in this one. He's got to try and run away from Colin Kortnick, who's had really good speed in this race so far. How about Scott Kim? Big run over the curb right there, but doing a really nice job in the 3rd position after starting in 4th. Just 1.7 seconds behind the 51. Connection problems there for the 7-Eleven. Mike Nickum, who led 3 laps of this race, now back to 4th position and under pressure from Perry Duncan. Started 9th. Trying to get up there into the top few places. He might have the speed even to challenge Steve Ficacci, but has not been able to make the passes as of yet. Darren Treacle has closed in a bit as well. Finds himself in the 6th position. About 7.3 seconds off your race lead. Ooh, and behind him, Matthew Gazenda goes for a little landscaping job there in the 7th position. He gets back up to speed now. Aaron Dietrich starts to close back in. These two having gotten together in the corner that they are approaching. Out in front, Ficacci ahead by just under 1 second. Second to last corner. Back onto the front straightaway, picks up about 3 more tenths just through that chicane. And I'm excited to see what Darren Treacle is able to do in the feature race. He's going to be starting a little bit closer to the front than Ficacci. And those two have had so many great battles over the last couple of years. A lot of entertaining moments from this league continuing again here tonight at Montreal. Looking at Perry Duncan starting to close up on Mike Nickham. What is he going to be able to do here as they work down the backside of the racetrack? Into the chicane. Scott Kim went really high up over that curb as they run up right against the wall through that section. Down into the hairpin. Nickham able to hold him off through there, but Perry Duncan, good run. And he's going to be right on the back bumper. Getting a little bit of that draft, that slipstream, making good use of it. Is he going to be able to pull alongside? No, backs out. See if he sets up for this front straightaway. Not a great run through the chicane for the 8 machine. They'll stay about 1 car length behind, but they do both close in on Scott Kim, just a couple of car lengths. And Darren Treacle continues to stalk them as well. He's about 2 or 3 tenths of a second per lap faster. Could be in the mix for a top 5 before it's all said and done. Oh man, really close there. The 8 almost got into Mike Nickham, the 57. I think he even realized how close he got, and now Perry a little bit offline through this set of corners, continuing to lose a little bit more time. I think he is pushing a little bit too hard, trying to keep up. Missing his marks through the last little bit of this racetrack. Oh, and there goes Mike Nickham, pushing too hard himself, and he's going to lose 2 spots. There goes Darren Treacle on by. Take a look at what happened. Just outbraked himself, I think. Yeah, just missed the corner through the grass. We've seen that a couple times. Back alive. Now he finds himself 6th position. Darren Treacle, after starting from the pits up into the top 5, could have a shot at 4th place if he can track down Perry Duncan, who himself is going to try and track down the 3rd place runner of Scott Kim, who's gotten close to Colin Kortnick. Very well could have some battles for the podium. In the last few laps, only about 3.5 laps to go. Steve Ficacci's gotten away once again, now 4.2 seconds out in front. Excited to see what the two Porsches will do right around here. Scott Kim with the angry teeth, that grin on the front of that Porsche Cayman GT4. He's gonna use those teeth and make some aggressive moves in the closing moments of this race. Colin Kortnick seems to be reeling a little bit here, maybe used his tires up, made a couple of mistakes. Not exactly sure where he lost all the time, because he lost about 2 seconds on the last lap. Ooh, Scott Kim really wide on exit right there. You see these four cars all in line, separated by a good distance between each other, about a second to 2 seconds gap in between all of them. Colin Kortnick now through the final chicane. Gonna be coming back to 3 laps to go, and the gap's still about 4.5 seconds. Let's see what the lap times are at the stripe. Almost dead even between the 32 and the 711. Fastest car on track. It's actually going to be Aaron Dietrich in the 270, all the way back here in 7th position. Was just marginally better than the race leader Steve Ficacci, just about 100th of a second. But obviously has some speed in that Kentucky machine. We'll see what he can do in the feature race. He'll be starting towards the front. And that is what makes this league so interesting. These flip-flop inverts that they do. Oh man, and there is the teeth. Scott Kim going right in to the back bumper of the 32. Outbraked himself and tried to get in there a little bit too hard. Rather than finding speed, he found the bumper of Colin Kortnick. Let's see what he can do on this end of the track. Not able to get back to the gas quick enough there, but obviously pretty good in the middle sector of the raceway. And the battle is going to be on for 4th. Darren Treacle is there, coming back to 2 laps to go, and he has the slipstream. The AMG number 70 Treacle Insurance Agency, I was going to say Darren Insurance Agency, but it is Treacle Insurance, has closed in, and he may even have a shot at it down here in turn 1. Great run out of the final corner. Carrying a lot of speed. He has gotten alongside to the quarter panel. Goes in deep. Perry Duncan going to concede that position. And Darren Treacle on the move. He is up from starting in the pits all the way up to 4th position. And it's not all over yet for a podium spot. Colin Kortnick and Scott Kim, who have continued to race it up here for the last few laps. Going to be very tight between these two. Colin goes in too deep to that corner, slows him up, and that's going to close the gap. Every mistake, every moment between these two contributes to time gained for Darren Treacle. Will have one more lap after this one to try and get up there. Kim goes in the hairpin really deep there, doing everything he can to try and force a mistake from the 32. But they are both losing time to the race leader Steve Ficacci, who's out here sticking up the show, as he often does in the Rick's Flicks machine. Oh man, big hit on the curb right there. But he'll come back here to take the white flag. Ficacci way out in front now, and continuing to pull away last time around. And a 143.16. These guys 144.6 and 144.7. Darren Treacle 144.3. So Ficacci significantly quicker than everyone on the track other than Aaron Dietrich, but he's even still 0.6 of a second slower. What is Scott Kim going to be able to do on the last lap? Can he get close enough to force a mistake from Colin Kortnick? Can Darren Treacle make up the time right there? He's about 6 or 7 car lengths behind the two Porsches. And Perry Duncan is not letting Darren go either. He's right there, 2 car lengths behind. Is the battle for second, third, and fourth right here on your screen. There goes Steve Ficacci off in the distance. Scott Kim really gonna have to set up for a good exit here, and he may have just done it. His kind of best run out of there that we've seen. Not sure it's gonna be enough. Steve Ficacci though into the final chicane. No pressure whatsoever. You can coast from here. 9.5 seconds out in front. He is going to win the heat race. And here we go. Battle for second. Scott Kim deep into the chicane. He is right there, a car length behind, but it's not going to be enough. Colin Kortnick able to hang on to it. And Scott Kim going to take third position across the stripe. Darren Treacle fourth. Perry Duncan lost some time there in the final lap. He falls to fifth. And then Aaron Dietrich sixth. Mike Nickham in seventh as they pile into turn one. Matthew Gazenda able to come home in the 8th spot, and Brian Kennedy will come home 9th. He should start up at the front in the feature race, but we are headed to our halfway break, and we'll come back to interview race 1 winner Steve Ficacci. We'll be right back after a quick couple of commercials. Don't go anywhere. From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, trading paints, or via email. SEOMike helps businesses of all sizes achieve higher search engine rankings to drive more traffic and increase sales. Contact SEOMike today for a free website evaluation and quote. Mention this ad for 15% off your initial setup. SEOMike, marketing websites on the internet since 1997. Visit SEOMike.com. Here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
Cabot,
where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back at the racetrack now. We'll see if we can pull in our race winner for the heat race. That is Steve Ficacci. Let's see if we can get him into the booth with us. I do not see him out there, so let's actually pull in Scott Kim. Talk with him after race number 1. Hey Scott, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Hey Adam, yes, copy.
Hey man, well you had a good battle going there with Colin in the closing
Colin.
laps, and
man.
not quite able to get it done, but you obviously have good pace out there and get yourself a podium finish in the heat. Did you learn anything to take into the feature race?
You know, I hope to keep it up, keep it clean, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, how's the car feeling out here at Montreal tonight?
Car feels a lot better. It was a little warmer yesterday, but today feels a lot quicker for everybody. And yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, definitely been some exciting stuff out here so far. Even with
Yeah.
the short field, you guys are putting on a great show. So
I'll
go
bet.
get them out there and good
All right,
luck.
we'll do. All right, thank you.
Thank you. It is Scott Kim who finished third in the heat race. Colin Kortnick finished in second spot, and Steve Ficacci takes the victory in the heat race. We'll see if Adam Pohl joins us here for the feature. Not exactly sure, but he should be starting on the front row. That's what's intended, at least. We'll see if he does join us out here. Brian Kennedy gonna roll off from the second spot. Matthew Gazenda gonna start in the third position. Mike Nickham rolls off from fourth. Aaron Dietrich gonna start from the fifth spot. Perry Duncan, he'll roll off from sixth here tonight. Darren Treacle gonna start from seventh. Scott Kim rolling off from eighth. Colin Kortnick gonna roll off ninth, and Steve Ficacci, who just won the heat race, he'll have to come from the back again. It's not gonna be that easy for him here. He's got Darren Treacle, Aaron Dietrich, Brian Kennedy, all of these drivers who have so much speed each and every week out here in front of him now. We'll see how he does as the field works into the restart zone. It is going to be Brian Kennedy and Matthew Gazenda on the front row. No Adam Pohl here tonight. Resident Canadian, not going to be joining us for the Canadian race, but we hope to see him back here for the finale next week. Green flag in the air for the feature race from Montreal, as the top two race down into the corner. Tight stuff. Gazenda goes a little bit wide, give the advantage to Brian Kennedy, but not fully. Now he makes the pass. Field still pretty wadded up back here. Got Kim side by side with Colin Kortnick. These two continue their battle from race one, and as they do so, they trap Steve Ficacci in behind. There goes Ficacci on by, or he tries to at least. They're going to be side by side. A little bit of door banging there down into the corner. Ficacci has to back off. Scott Kim holds on to the position, and further up, it's going to be Aaron Dietrich and Perry Duncan side by side. And man, look at the run there from Darren Treacle. He's going to go off track though. That is going to cost him big time. Now he falls to the tail end of the field. Wow, that was really close. And Aaron Dietrich has some problems here, and maybe a time penalty. He goes to the back now. Keep an eye on the battles further up. Perry Duncan very wide off the corner, opens the door for Colin Kortnick. Meanwhile, the top three have gotten away. That's Brian Kennedy, Matthew Gazenda, and Mike Nickham. Where Brian Kennedy had a self-spin in the heat race. See what he's able to do in this one. This group of race cars all the way back here at the other end of the straightaway. Scott Kim now gets passed up by Steve Ficacci. Here comes Darren Treacle trying to regain positions after that mistake. He should be able to get down into the corner. It'll be the two Mercedes trying to make their way through the field, as Perry Duncan once again a little bit too deep on the brakes, and there's Colin Kortnick trying to take advantage. Not able to do so. Here comes Ficacci. Looks drivers left. Backs out trying to get a good run from the chicane. And he is going to do exactly that. The door gets shut in his face though. Nowhere to go. Not going to be able to outbrake down into this turn. Back to the right. Kortnick, big slide off the corner, but keeps the speed up. As these drivers race it up nose to tail, they continue to lose time to the top three. Now 6.2 seconds back is Perry Duncan. The top three separated by about 2.5 seconds. As Darren Treacle's had another problem. What happened here? Just missed the turn by a little bit right there. As we take a look at the replay, yeah, just I think it wheel hopped a little for him. Scott Kim not able to fully get on by immediately. As we go back live. Perry Duncan still out in front of this second pack, 6.8 seconds. Mike Nickham has lost some time to Matthew Gazenda. The top two by 1.5 seconds separated. But an issue for Brian Kennedy in turn one. Just lost about a half second. There goes Steve Ficacci on by Perry Duncan. Just a matter of time for the 51 to make the pass. Now he can try and get up there to sweep the night, which no one has done, as Aaron Dietrich is around. Exactly where we saw Brian Kennedy have the issue in the heat race. Aaron Dietrich over the curb, back end, slips out from around, noses it hard into the barrier. And he'll be able to drive away, but not without some significant damage. Sorry about that. We had a big moment. Big freeze right there. Seems like everything is okay now. Brian Kennedy still out in front. The lead 1 second between himself and Matthew Gazenda. Take a look at the lap times as they head back towards the start-finish line. Brian Kennedy 1:43.9, Gazenda 1:43.7. 0.2 quicker, and Steve Ficacci 1:43 flat. Colin Kortnick 1:43.7, Darren Treacle 1:43.5. So lots of drivers still in the 1:43 bracket. Keep an eye on this neon and black SVC Rick's Flicks AMG Mercedes. Could be the best opportunity of the season for anyone to sweep the night. We might have to change up our post-race graphic if he does so. Usually we've got two different cars in victory lane after the heat race and the feature race, but can't count out Matthew Gazenda or Brian Kennedy. These two have good speed. And it is still a long ways for Steve Ficacci to get there. On board here with the 52 of Gazenda. Sounds like he's pretty much maxed out on the revs too. That is pretty interesting, the way the car is geared up. Almost gets into the barrier off the last corner. But yeah, the McLaren not quite geared up for the long straights here in Montreal. Battle is going to be on for third. Here comes Ficacci. He's already closed the gap. Fastest lap of the race last time by. Gotta be patient though. Still has more than half the race yet. Perry Duncan, Colin Kortnick battling it up behind him. Colin going to be able to make the pass. Had a very strong night as the 32. Darren Treacle going to make the move around Scott Kim. Not quite the feature race I'm sure Scott was hoping for. Maybe a little commentator curse. Sorry about that, Scott, for pulling you into the booth for the post-race interview. But see what he's able to do here in the second half of this race. It is on for third place. Ficacci trying to get back to the throttle. Big slide from the tires there. Could have an opportunity to make the pass right here. They are hitting over 145 miles an hour onto the brakes into the final chicane. Able to cut it back nicely, and he's got the distance now down from 2 car lengths to 1. We'll see if he tries to make a move down into turn 1, just getting stalled out right here. And he is going to try and outbrake the 57 of Mike Nickum. Not going to leave the door open for him, though, and he does hold on for the moment. Kachi pushing really hard right here. He lost about 6/10 on that lap, being stuck behind the 57. And he is going to go wide. Really nice run there. Not able to get alongside, though, in what is not really a passing zone traditionally. Mike Nickum able to hold him off. Oh, and Gazenda's off in front of him. I think they're both going to be able to go on by. Oh, behind the trees, not able to see there. They do both get on past. And here comes Ficacci, going to try and go the long way around. And he will complete the pass. What a great job there to take advantage of the car going off the racetrack. Some drivers may be hesitant to see a car like that out in front of them. Play it a little bit conservatively. Ficacci, though, pushing hard right now. He's up to second, trying to complete the sweep. He's got 7 seconds to go now. Lost another 7/10 on that lap, getting caught up. Brian Kennedy is running really good lap times right now, 143.3. That being only 4/10 slower than Ficacci's fastest lap of the race, but now he's got some clean air. We'll see what he's able to do. I think we've had an issue with Colin Kortnick's gone around. Taking a look at what happened right here. Started sliding, gets a little contact from Perry Duncan. Keep an eye on Brian Kennedy. Just got to be smooth from here on out, and he should have this one, but still 8.5 minutes left. There is second place Steve Ficacci, who's now put 1.2 seconds between himself and Mike Nickum. Matthew Gazenda starting to close in on Nickum as well. Could have a good battle back here. Perry Duncan, Scott Kim, 6th and 7th. Through the final chicane right there. Porsche, a little bit of a smaller car, so you can get through some of these chicanes a little easier. They handle pretty nicely. You can use the weight from the mid-engine a little bit more than some of these front-engine cars. As he is putting that Porsche to good use tonight. Really good speed all night long. As the gap for the race lead now under 6 seconds. Ficacci 143.18 to Brian Kennedy's 143.69. So that distance shrinks by just a little bit, about a half second. We're going to be coming back to 4 laps to go for Brian Kennedy. Kachi's going to have to be about a second and a half per lap faster and complete the pass, and that is just so much to ask out of a race like this where he's already had to come from the rear. Could have a battle developing for third. The final step of the podium, that is Mike Nickum, Matthew Gazenda. That distance about 1 second. Scott Kim has had an issue. He's lost some time to Perry Duncan. Perry well up the road, about 3.5 seconds. And that time across the stripe, Fikachi again about a half second quicker. Just maybe too little too late. He's really gonna have to find some extra speed and hope that Brian Kennedy starts to make some mistakes and loses a little bit of pace over the last 3 laps. But again, no pressure on the 77 other than to just keep it on the racetrack. That gap ticks down now under 5 seconds. At least for the brief moment there, it did. I'll head back towards the start-finish line. So Brian Kennedy, who has led the whole race so far, doing what he needs to do and hanging on to it. But Kachi up from 10th. That gap right around 5 seconds. Maybe 3 laps to go. Just gonna need to pick up more time than that. Last time by, he was a second quicker. He ran his fastest lap of the race, so Fikachi is on it. This is Brian Kennedy's race to lose, though. No other battles to speak of. Gazenda starting to close in on Nickum, but he is not there yet. That gap about 0.6 of a second. This will be for the final step of the podium. I'm sure it could be a battle over the last couple of laps, so we'll just keep an eye on it. Kachi continuing to just push this car to its very limits. Brian Kennedy still out in front. It seems like it is through some of the chicanes is where Fikachi's a little bit better. You can see he's visually closed the gap a little bit more. I mean, that's the distance, but man, coming back to 2 laps to go, it's gonna have to be a mistake from the 77 of Brian Kennedy, who's looking for another win. He's got one on the season, could be trying to close in on the championship fight. Aaron Dietrich came in second in points, 5 points ahead of Brian Kennedy. Those two are going to be fighting for it, as Bruce Wiley not here tonight, so it's going to be pretty close between all of those 3. That time Fikachi only about a 1/10.5 quicker. Mike Nickum had an issue out of the final corner. He's lost a lot of time. Let's see what happened here. Maybe course cutting. Maybe he's had mechanical problem, I'm not too sure. We'll go back live with him. He's lost spots now to Darren Treacle and Perry Duncan. We'll have one lap after this one to make it up, but he gets really loose out of the corner. So that was the battle for third. Matthew Gazenda has it all to himself at the moment. It seems like it's pretty well stabilized at this point. Picacci and Brian Kennedy. If anything, looks like Brian has picked it up here on this lap, and Steve has used all of his stuff up. Trying to close the gap. They'll be coming back to the white flag. And it looks like it is all Brian Kennedy in this one, start to finish. Through the final chicane, coming back to the white flag. White flag in the air. Picacci across the stripe. That time he did lose a half second, so some mistake somewhere. Not exactly sure where he lost the time. No real battles other than for 8th and 9th, actually. So Colin Kortnick, Aaron Dietrich. This is the battle to stay out of last place. And this is an important position for Aaron Dietrich. He needs to get as many points as he can, with Brian Kennedy third in points coming into tonight's race. This could be the difference in a championship. Brian Kennedy out in front. Smooth as you like through there. Keeps it off the wall. Steve Picacci continuing to push. Is closing up a little bit on this lap, but it's just not going to be enough, barring a massive mistake from the 77. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Down the second to last straight, Brian Kennedy started out front, and he hasn't let it go into the final chicane here in Montreal. Gonna get another feature win. This time, doing it all his way in Montreal. Gonna put himself in the championship hunt. Brian Kennedy's gonna win in Montreal, and here comes Steve Picacci from last to second, almost a full sweep on the night. And we've got a battle for the last position. Matthew Gazenda takes third. Darren Treacle gonna be able to take fourth spot. Perry Duncan fifth. Mike Nickum sixth. Seventh is Scott Kim. Meanwhile, this is the battle for 8th and 9th. Into the chicane. Colin Kortnick able to edge out Aaron Dietrich. That important point. Not gonna be able to get it. Colin Kortnick hangs on, and he is gonna finish 8th. Aaron Dietrich gonna come home in 9th. As they will pile into turn number 1, which is tradition here in the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. Wow, what a night here at Montreal. Brian Kennedy taking your feature win. Congrats to him on that. We'll interview him and the rest of the top 3 here tonight, right after a quick commercial break. From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, Trading Paints, or via email. SEOMike helps businesses of all sizes achieve higher search engine rankings to drive more traffic and increase sales. Contact SEOMike today for a free website evaluation and quote. Mention this ad for 15% off your initial setup. SEOMike, marketing websites on the internet since 1997. Visit SEOMike.com. We are back at the racetrack now. We're going to pull in third place finisher. That should say third. That is Matthew Gazenda. Not your race winner here tonight. We'll pull him in. Hey Matt, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how you doing, Adam?
Hey, pretty good, man. Well, you start third in the feature, you finish in third, but it was a little eventful at times. You had an opportunity to keep up with the leaders there early on, and you get off track late, but able to get back onto the podium. But describe your night with the heat and the feature here.
Yeah, so the heat got caught up in something pretty early, so I just kind of chilled for a little bit and just got used to the track and the car with the conditions today. And then second race, I got off to a really good jump with Brian. I think I set my personal best like the third lap, and then I just kind of overcooked the tires a little bit. And I was worrying about, I could see Steve coming up, and I just wasn't paying attention enough for that one chicane, and just missed the braking. And that one's a really tough one if you don't get it right. So after that, after doing the slowdown, just kind of calmed down a little bit, and then just caught up to Mike and just was trying to press him a little bit. I don't know if I could have got past him without the slowdown, but I was getting some good times in there again, so it was fun.
Yeah, definitely fun to see you, tracking him down there for third and able to get back onto the podium in the end. We go to Okayama next week. How do you feel about going out there?
I love that track. Pretty familiar with it. Run it a lot in PCC in the Mustang. Very twisty. I think I'll probably run the McLaren there again because it's got some really good technical sections, and the McLaren seems pretty good in the slow stuff. So looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, we'll see if you can get back onto the podium there. Maybe look for a win as well. But third place here tonight in Montreal. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Just a shout out to Perry for sponsoring the league and also doing my awesome design for the car. He's been great. I'm glad he's back and racing now, so it's awesome to see him back.
Awesome, Matt. Well, congrats on the podium finish here tonight, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We're going to go to second place finisher, and man, really the driver of the day, honestly, and that is going to be Steve Ficacci. Hey, Steve, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do. How are you?
Well, man, pretty good. Sorry you couldn't quite get the sweep here tonight, but you put on a show for everybody. Coming from the back in the heat as well as here in the feature race. You come up one position short of sweeping the night, which hasn't been done by anybody, but you gave it the best shot here in Montreal. Just describe both races from your perspective.
The first race, both races, just early on, I was really cautious because I knew we'd have to do a lot of passing, and there's a lot of opportunities to lose the car, especially, well, first of all, I'm not sure, I guess turn 1, 2, I'm going to call it, but like the left, right, there's just a lot of opportunity for contact. So I just kind of tiptoed through there, and then we have that next chicane, the right, left. People just seem to lose the car there a lot, especially on cold tires. And then there's the chicane after that where the rear end gets real loose on the car. At least it did in Mercedes. I don't know if it did in the other cars, but every single lap it was like that. So I just kind of took it easy, made sure I kept the car clean, and kind of see where my pace was in the first race. And the second race, I kind of had the same plan because I figured if you don't get through it, you're not gonna be around in the end. So I was a little bit cautious. But at the end of the day, there's some faster cars that start in front, because of the excitement in the first race. So it's not always a level playing field, I guess you'd say. But no, I mean, I got kind of through most of the field, and then the top three, I think, had pretty good pace. And for whatever reason, this track has super long straightaways, but there's not a ton of draft. So you really have to get the passing done in the corners, where you obviously can't do that because it's a chicane, right? So I felt like I had a lot of speed. I carried a lot of speed through the middle of the chicanes, but you can't go anywhere because there's a car in front of you. So just passing in general was really hard here tonight. And, once I kind of got towards the top three anyway, it was very hard to pass. I almost had to wait for them to make a mistake. And I was trying to place my car in a way that would kind of, take them off their line and, just give me a little bit to get by. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. I think it has to do with the horsepower in these versus, maybe a faster race car. If you had a little bit more acceleration and had to have that control over the throttle a little bit more, right? That's what makes it a little easier to get passes completed. But either way, you passed a lot of race cars out here tonight, and you end up in second. We go to Okayama next week. Do you think you'll be out there? And if so, how do you feel about that racetrack?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll be back. It was just kind of a one-off thing. I haven't been doing a lot of competitive racing lately, but I do enjoy these cars. So I just kind of wanted to get back. I do like this circuit we were at today. I think many years ago it was my first iRacing win, so it was kind of just like this place, Whether or not I'm actually good at it or not, I don't know, but or better than the rest. But it's got a good spot for me, so I like it. So I came back for this one. We'll see. Summer, I have 3 kids, so I don't get to be on the sim as much as I do in the winter. So if we can, we'll be here.
Awesome. Well, we hope you can make it out, but it was good to see you out here tonight in Montreal, and you get the win in the heat. You also had the pole, and you come home in second, just one spot short of the sweep here tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
No, I probably should, but I can't think of anybody right now. So just the usual people. Then you kind of know who they are at this point.
Awesome, Steve. Well, thanks for taking the time here, and hopefully we see you next week. But either way, have a good night.
Thank you, too.
Thank you. As we will go to our race winner here, and that is not how his car looked at the end of things tonight. That is Brian Kennedy. As we go to take a look at the gas burn machine, that is Brian Kennedy. We'll pull him in. Hey, Brian, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Adam. I copy.
Well, man, you put yourself back into the championship hunt here with the win tonight in Montreal, and you had it a little bit easier in race 2 than you did in race 1, but just describe your night from your perspective.
Yeah, you said it. Race 1 was kind of a mess because I got fired up chasing Steve there, and then I got a little greedy in the throttle, lost it in that first chicane, and put it in the wall, so I kind of ruined the race, but set me up, nicely with a reverse grid, and certainly that gave me the advantage enough to keep Steve behind me. But if we were starting in the same place, Steve just had the pace and the racecraft for sure. I mean, he came from all the way in the back there. Very impressive.
Yeah, definitely an impressive night for him, but man, you do lead flag to flag. You had some fast cars behind you, especially early on in this one. And as I said, the championship, with Bruce Wiley not being here tonight, he was about 20 points ahead of you. You were only 5 behind Aaron Dietrich, and he finished towards the back of the field. So it's going to be really tight leaving this race. And we go to Okayama next week. How do you feel about going out there for the finale?
Yeah, I like that track, and I think it's going to suit these cars well. So, yeah, look forward to it. And yeah, certainly the season points being so close makes it extra exciting. So.
Yeah, I don't think we've had much of a championship fight in the last few seasons. There was one, I think, probably mid last year, maybe 2, at the beginning of last year, that we had a tight fight between Ficacci and Darren Treacle. But yeah, now it's going to be you and I think Bruce Wiley and these other guys. So it should be a good time at a really fun track there. But you take the win, leading all the way here in the feature race. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Absolutely, yeah. Certain. I'll start with V-Speed this time. You guys do an awesome job, so thank you. And SEOMike, longtime sponsor of the league. Definitely, check out his business if you run a website. And then, of course, Perry Duncan. Not only is he a awesome livery designer, but he's a heck of a fast driver as well. He's had a lot of pace at Montreal. And lastly, Team Gasburn. We're gonna get more Gasburn drivers out next season. So.
Yeah, being the summer and everything, it'll be nice to see a few more drivers in the field in the fall, but you put on a great show for us here tonight in Montreal. You take the win. Congrats on that, and we will catch you in the finale next week.
All right, thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Brian. All right, that is Brian Kennedy. Let's go to our results for the evening here from Montreal, and we'll head on out for the night. It is Brian Kennedy taking the win in the finale, or in the feature race. After starting up in front, he does not lose the lead at any point during the night, and takes that victory. But Steve Ficacci was on his way, just one position short of the sweep here, which no one has done this season. And man, that would have been quite the scene if he had done that. So Steve Ficacci will come home second. Matthew Gazenda finishes third. Darren Treacle comes home in fourth. Perry Duncan going to round out the top 5. Mike Nickum, he'll finish in the 6th spot after being up in the top 3 for much of this race. Late mistakes cost him there. Scott Kim, he'll finish 7th after a very strong heat event. Colin Kortnick going to finish in 8th. Aaron Dietrich, he'll finish in 9th, and going to be interesting to see in the points how they shake up after tonight's race. Adam Pohl not taking the grid here tonight. He'll be shown in the 10th position, but that is tonight's race from Montreal. We do want to thank you for joining us out here on V-Speed 2. We'll be back next week with the season finale, as well as, I think that's all we've got here for the next couple of weeks. The Champion Motorsports Truck Racing League on Friday nights is going to be back in a few weeks, so tune on in for that right here on V-Speed 2. But we also have some races coming up tomorrow night and Saturday night on the main V-Speed channel. That's going to be the VRX World Cup tomorrow night, and then the Saturday Night Racing League over there on Saturday night, of course. But tune on into those ones if you like your oval racing action. I think they're actually at the road course possibly on Saturday night. So we do want to thank you again for tuning in. Thank Duncan Racing Designs and SEOMike for putting this on, and we will catch you all next time.